That is cold. One Piece chapter 697. That is cold. I didn't know Law had it in him. I didn't know Law had it in him. That is cold. He told Doflamingo, he was like, look, I don't think you understand. I'm the one with all the leverage right now. You talking to me saying I'm a kid playing a grown-up's game? How about you sit down for a second? I'm gonna tell you how it is. So you're gonna quit being one of the 7 warlords. You're gonna go back to being a pirate. You're gonna give up everything that you've built over the last 10 years. And if you don't, then I'll let Kaido know that you can no longer produce Smile, and he'll wipe you off the face of the map. I mean, it is what it is at this point. Either you quit and you go back to having the Navy hunting for you, or you have Kaido hunt for you. You choose. And before this dude can make a counter offer, Doflamingo don't even get a chance. Law basically hangs up on him. That is cold. That is cold. I love it too. I love it, man. I love it when characters give these ultimatums, but this is just so cold and calculated. This is good. This is good. Like, this is the type of stuff that I like, man, because it just shows that there's a level of cunning, a level of intellect to these characters that you don't fully expect, especially not when you get the SBS corner and you got, one of these kids that are writing in Etro Oda saying, Oda, what do I need to do to drink Nami's bathwater? Like, man, let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something. I always joke, Nami this, Nami that, Nico Robin this, Nico Robin that, Nico Robin's trash. I always make all these jokes. But at the same time, man, I don't care how fine a woman is. I ain't drinking no woman's bath water. Like, you can miss me with all that. Like you can miss me with that. I ain't doing it. Because at the end of the day, you got all types of different funk and everything. But of course, Nami got a different kind of funk, though. I might be talking myself into this. Nah, but for real though, I said I wasn't gonna troll. But now, like, in a chapter like this, where there's just so much heavy stuff in here, there's so much heavy stuff, you just don't expect it when you get that SBS corner, man. You don't expect it. But, what I found probably the most interesting was probably how Tashigi was, watching how the Navy men, the G5 men were, threatening the kids, saying, well, if you want to thank these pirates, and you can take your ass back to that island. They draw the guns on them. They're trying to block the view. Even though some of these pirates, to think back to how Sanji stood up for them, how Virgo betrayed them and everything. Like, you can tell that the Straw Hats left an impact on the Navy men as well. But, when Tashigi is hearing all this, like, her heart's breaking. And it says a lot about her character as well. And she just, says, like, stop it. You can't treat these kids like this. And just, Tashigi screaming at her own men at that point. And then the G5 men saying, but they're a lawless bunch, but damn it, we love them. And then you have that hilarious moment where the kid's like, hey, Straw Hat Pirates, when we grow up, we're going to be pirates like you. It's just like, I can't believe it, man. Like, in the last chapter, I'm like, yeah, Tashigi might inspire some of them to want to be like the next generation of Marines. And like, yeah, no, we're going to be pirates. And it's like, I really feel I can see it coming. Like, when Luffy becomes the king of the pirates, his pirate age, it's going to be all about adventure. It's going to be all about adventure and partying and everything. He's going to change the perception that people have of what it means to be a pirate. I mean, if that's the case, some people, I can see a lot of people getting pissed off if that ends up being the ending to One Piece. But at the same time, like, I've seen enough character interactions and enough of this stuff being rinsed and repeated and just built upon to where I could totally see it working. I could totally see it working where Oda has enough bank built up to where he can actually pull that off. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, the other thing is how Luffy is looking at Smoker and he's telling him, like, yeah, you guys got to take the tanker. And the reason why you got to take the tanker is if we stay here, things get tricky. Luffy is becoming aware of the whole thing with optics. He's understanding that it doesn't necessarily look the best for them to still be there, at least a lot of unnecessary questions. And he's like, Nami and the rest of them need to make sure the kids are okay, and that's all cool, but we got other stuff to consider. Smokey, you need to take that ship. You need to get these kids out of here. And I remember when I was reading, right, I thought Doflamingo was coming across the ship that Smoker and them are on. I'm like, oh man, he's about to get these kids back. And that wasn't the case. Doflamingo Law got on some Game of Thrones shit, but Doflamingo sees like the heads of Baby Five and the other guy. I forgot his name, but he sees their heads, and I'm like, oh my god! I was like, for a second, I forgot that Law can chop their heads off and chop body parts and stuff. I forgot all about that for a second, and I'm like, oh my god, they went full Ned Stark. I can't believe it. Heads are on spikes at this point. I'm like, wait a second, they're talking. The fuck is going on? I'm like, oh, that's right, that's Law's devil fruit ability. So I totally forgot. That's how you know it's a good chapter, where like midway through it, I'm forgetting the lore and I'm just getting caught up in everything that's happening. Like, that doesn't happen too often, but when it does happen, that's how you know, like, I'm just turning into a fan of the series. And I like how Doflamingo, when that happens, and like they're apologizing and saying like Baby Five's like, you needed me, and the other one's like, young master, and you just see Doflamingo, he even takes ownership of it. He says, well, you were following my orders. And just to see how Law backs him in that corner, it's like everything came full circle to him at that point. Now, the other thing that was pretty cool, right? Law, when he's talking to Luffy, he's just like, yeah, our interests, they're aligned, but I don't think you understand how powerful the four emperors are, how much pull they got. Luffy's like, yeah, it's still gonna crush them. And Law's like, yeah, well, there's only a 30% chance that we can take down Kaido, the strongest of the beasts. And Luffy's like, yeah, okay, 30% sounds good to me. It's like, you could tell Luffy, right? Like, Luffy is on some John McClane Die Hard type stuff, right? I'm expecting Luffy at some point to just say, yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I know there's some younger viewers, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, man, you really need to be checking out Die Hard. Those are some of my favorite movies, man. They're dated as hell. But they're just filled with Chad moments, like just macho shit. Like, I think it was like in Die Hard 3, John McClane's driving a motorcycle as a helicopter and everything, and he somehow flips the fucking motorcycle into the air and crashes the fucking helicopter. Like, it's just full of moments like that, just beastly shit, right? Like, beastly shit. But Luffy is like John McClane. Like, you could tell John McClane that there's a 99.9% chance you're gonna fail. And this dude like, okay, let me put on my big boy pants, let me grab my ball sack, and hey, I'll be that 0.1% that pulls it off. Like, Luffy, he's got it in his head. He's taking down the four emperors, and there ain't nothing you can tell him differently. And that's one of the things I really like about Luffy as a character, man. Like, Luffy, for all intents and purposes, he's an idiot. But he's an idiot with conviction. I mean, that's interesting to even put that dynamic there. But overall, this was a good chapter. Like I said, action-wise, there wasn't a lot of action for a battle shonen. Not necessarily what you need, but at the same time, like, the beauty of One Piece is these chapters like this, the character interactions, the dynamics, the world building, just the clever writing. Like, there's so much more to this series than just the partying, the gags, and the fights. There's so much more to it. I really wish I would have got into this series a lot sooner, but let me know what you guys thought about this in the comment section down below. But as always, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching all the way into the end. Have an awesome day, guys.